still at the lowest prices at the new look Des Kelly Interiors.
Winds easing tonight, generally dry with just some scattered showers. Cool with lowest temperatures 6 to 9 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball.
Thanks to Screwfix.ie, championing the trade with a dedicated call centre.
This is News Talk.
Breaking news. No apple muffins stocked in the UK.
Definitely no apple
muffins. No apple muffins stocked in the UK.
It's incredible news.
Yeah, we're going to get more of that, I'm sure, in just a few minutes' time. You're very welcome along to Wednesday's Off the Ball. Slight change of crew tonight. Adrian in the hot seat alongside, as you can see and hear, Kenny Cunningham alongside me. Good evening to you, Kenny.
Yeah, evening, lads.
And fellow follically challenged.
You've already introduced
fellow
me. Yeah.
Over there, Richie McCormack.
We're actually twins.
Good evening.
How are you?
How's it going?
Good.
Good show tonight. We've a lot of live football to talk about. Kenny is uber excited about the Manchester United team news, which is in, and we'll bring you in just a moment's time. It is another big night at the Champions League. We've got young boys of Bern up against Manchester United on the 3G pitch in Switzerland, so we'll have details on that. And on Man City up against Lyon as well. That's at the Etihad. They have a brand new manager for the night as well, Manchester City. So Mikel Arteta has to take the reins in the absence of the suspended Pep Guardiola. So we're going to preview those. We're going to look back as well on last night's action. Inter getting the better of Spurs in the end, 2-1. A couple of late goals there from Inter gets it done in the end. And Liverpool on the flip side of that beat PSG 3-2. So we'll have reflections on all of that good stuff to come a little bit later on. But we had hoped to, we're going to speak about Arsenal too, by the way. There's been a change. I know Kenny's particularly pumped about this one. Even Gazidis is leaving Arsenal, so we'll discuss what all of that means for the club with the Ars blogger himself, Andrew Mangan, is going to be along in the football show to discuss all of that. More developments in the Mayo football GA saga. That Richie's going to bring us in just a few minutes' time. A statement from the Mayo manager, Peter Leahy, is the latest development there as he calls for quiet on the issue. He issues a statement. So that is coming in just a short while. And we had hoped to speak with the man who advised Colin Kaepernick to take the knee, the original guy who sat down with him and said, this would be a pretty good idea, this taking the knee thing. You sat down initially, and maybe that's not the best form of protest. Maybe you want to sort of take the knee. So we'd hoped to do that, Kenny, and I was pretty pumped about it, but about 5 minutes ago he said he's out. He's dumped us.
That's a letdown, isn't it?
The other thing we have, of course, that I've failed to mention so far is it is Wednesday night. So Wednesday night rugby is on the cards just after 8 o'clock or thereabouts. That's going to be in the company this night of Keith Wood and Matt Williams alongside him. So that is all to come over the next little while. The Newsround is brought to you this evening with Screwfix.ie, championing the trade with a choice of over 20,000 quality trade products. And we'll get to that in just a second. Let's not get too excited with ourselves. But Kenny is in, and I'm wondering how the form is, Kenny. We're normally chatting on a sort of Friday morning at about 7:45 a.m, so a slight sort of...
That's a good, it's a good time for me.
Change of schedule.
7:45
oh, really?
in the morning. Yeah.
You're more of a morning man than a night owl, are you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm probably at my best, most alert. I think the earlier in the day.
Really,
later on, I begin
to fade a bit.
Mentally begin to drift.
What do we? In terms of, I'm trying to, bring the listeners and the viewers along with us until 9 o'clock this evening, Kenny. What's the story with apple muffins? They don't do them in the UK. Is that what you're saying to us?
Don't do them.
I don't believe that for a second.
Global trades. That's a farce, isn't it?
Surely in like a Cafe Nero or a Pret, you'd get an apple muffin.
Believe me, I've been in all of them. There's no apple muffins available in the UK market. Certainly not in the county of Essex.
There's an opening for you now. Bring apple muffins to the UK.
I'm told our contributor from the US, it's not fully finished yet. It may happen, Kenny. It may happen. I'm hoping a little bit of pressure will put him on air.
Can we bribe him with some apple muffins?
Who knows? Kenny's been uber excited about two things today, Richie. Two things. One of them,
muffins,
which we'll get to in more detail in just a second, is the fact, I don't know, it's the fact that Rashford starts on the left and Sanchez doesn't start for United tonight. I'm not sure which of those is exciting you more. But the other one was your return from a quick trip up to town there to Bunsen Burger.
Made a mistake last night, which didn't have a dinner before I came in.
Foolish indeed.
Yeah.
You of all people needs feeding before you come in here.
Yeah, I think
I've noticed that.
Yeah, so I made a conscious decision today I'll have a good
Stock
pig
up
out before I come in. So hooked up with a cousin of mine. Where would we go? We went to the Big Biz, Bunsen's, off Grafton Street. That's got to be, at the moment.
It's a top-notch burger.
Its charm is a plain, but it's just a plain.
Well, forget about the burger. You know what caught me by surprise today? The quality of the chips.
They've got a good chip. They've got a variety of chips as well.
They've got a variety of chips, but the chips that I'm not big on the sweet potato. I know you are, Adrian. I can have a couple, but I couldn't have a whole.
Love the sweet potato fries.
Like the sweet potato fry, okay.
Yeah, but the ones they chopped up, they were like, no, the crispy bits at the bottom of the pan usually. Slam a load of them in on top as well. Tasty. Proper finger job.
Sort of McDonald's fries or more chunky fries?
They're
more of a chunk. Hand cut. It's a hand cut. Oh, beautiful combo. I mean,
are they hand cutting them? Do you think? I often wonder about that stuff. You know,
value for money. Value for money. There can't be.
They are, yeah. You
can't be a restaurant in Dublin. Value for money in terms of what they serve you at the price.
Much
can't
burger
be better.
chips? What are you looking at?
It's about a tenner, isn't it?
So you probably get it for free anyway. Can you probably out the gap?
You get it free?
No, never. Do you pull always pay up? No, always pay. Always pay me way.
So you're going to go like Kenny Cunningham. Play the World Cup.
Very good. Well, look, thanks for the recommendation.
No hair. Feel sympathy from me.
I'm going to do you did voice. Kenny Cunningham, you used to play for Ireland and that.
I mean, I don't know what voice that was, but I mean... so look at we're going to get more team news from Richie and all that sort of good stuff in a minute, but let's get some quick reaction to you, from you to this United team news that's literally sort of hot off the press here in the last few minutes. So it's De Gea in goal, it's Shaw, Lindelof, Smalling, and debut for Diogo Dalot, who's youngster, highly rated fullback, coming from Porto. Mourinho's a lot of good things to say about him. Come to all that later on. Pogba, Matic, Fred across the middle, Lukaku up top, supported by on the right Martial, but key on the left Rashford. And you're excited, Kenny?
Yeah, so this is the way forward for me for Manchester United. I've probably been speaking about it for quite some time since Mourinho's been at the football club, particularly when Pogba came to the football club. For me, an outstanding player. How do you get the best out of him? This is the system, 4-3-3, playing as a number 8 with a holding midfielder behind him, which we know Matic is very good at. The problem they've had up until this season, they haven't had another number 8, another attacking midfielder of sufficient quality to play alongside Pogba. It's been Herrera. Fellaini's played in there and done okay at times, but a pair of kind of real quality. That's why Fred's been brought into the football club. So we'll wait and see. It's still early days in his Manchester United career, but the fact he's been brought in to play with Pogba in a midfield 3 is the right thing to do. But it's up top, this front 3, which always comes up for discussion. And one of the biggest problems which Mourinho has had, and one of the worst decisions for me which he made, was bringing Sanchez to the football club, because at that point for me Marcus Rashford was maturing as one of the most impressive, say, we don't call them left wingers now, they play left of a 3, forward players but off the left. He was really mature in that position, his understanding the role, his movement on and off the ball. He was beginning to impact games more. For me, he was looking where initially I looked at his career and thought eventually he's going to come in, he's going to play centre forward, this kid, he's got to play between the lines in the central area. The more I looked at him, I thought, you know what, this lad could potentially be equally as effective operating off the left and score goals. In
the tradition of the United young players that come through as opposed to the big money buy, they've got that
not
tradition.
Just because he's a young man, because he had the quality in terms of athletic ability, his dynamism, technical ability as well, just maturity, everything. His temperament for me suggested this lad's ready to make the breakthrough. And as soon as Sanchez came into the football club, that put the brakes on it. Immediately Sanchez had to play. He threw him in off the left to Sanchez. He's so undisciplined in his movement, Sanchez. When you play a 4-3-3 and you're asking Pogba to break forward into those inside left channels towards the box, what you don't want is your left winger coming off the wing and crowding the space. You want your left winger occupying the touchline, which is what we see with Manchester City. 2 wide men, Sane, Sterling, wherever it is, they make the pitch as wide as possible and leave those inside channels for the likes of David Silva, De Bruyne, those type of players. That's the way you have to play with this system, make the pitch as wide as possible. Sanchez doesn't think about these things. He comes on the inside, he was getting onto the toes of Pogba, he follows the ball. Wonderfully talented player, but totally indisciplined in terms of positions that he takes up. You can see
why Mourinho possibly took the punt on Sanchez at the time he did last year. They brought him in during the transfer window. They brought him in at a time when notionally they still had a chance of winning the league. He probably thought that bringing a player of this marquee name, this kind of calibre into the side at this point of the year could spur the side on. It clearly hasn't worked.
Yeah, well, I don't think so. I think it actually hindered the team, actually disrupted the whole balance of the team. For me, I couldn't understand the argument, even from a footballing perspective, why you bring this player in. For me, it was more of like a marquee sign, and at the time Manchester City were getting a huge amount of plaudits. Oh, they've overtaken, noisy neighbours, the whole shebang. It was almost like a statement. They were looking to bring Sanchez in. At that time Sané was injured, wasn't he? So it was almost seen as a coup for Manchester. We've got one over on Manchester City bringing this player in. Mourinho signed his new contract very quickly after that, and this was seen signs of, we're still here, we're still Manchester United, we can still compete at the top end. But I was always scratching my head looking at Sanchez thinking, where's he going to play? Looks as if he's going to play off the left foot. Well, you got to get Rashford into this team. This lad's going to be an absolutely world-class player. And I don't think they've recovered. And for me, even in the summer, given a choice, for me, Sanchez would have been out the door.
Yeah.
You know, they paid reasonable amount of money, huge wages, and you've seen the ripple effect of the wages that they're paying him. You've got Pogba, all of this noise around Pogba. Yeah. You know what's driving that as well as new contract, wages.
I do think that comes back to the signing of Sanchez too, because I think frequently they can be actually, let's call them ego measuring contests at times where clubs are like, well, you're in for him.
So what if they gained, Adrian, on a load of different levels, football and the whole contract thing in terms of the atmosphere and in the dressing room?
But it's an ego measuring contest that United are involved in alone. Like, you look at the signings that City made in that transfer window, like bringing in Aymeric Laporte, who's hardly the marquee, superb signing that people think on paper, is actually a really good centre half. He's going to do a job for the side and fits the team perfectly.
So it was sound football and reasons,
exactly.
is what you're saying.
They're not signing Aymeric Laporte simply because Manchester United want to sign him.
No, absolutely not. But the fundamental reasons why you bring a player into the football club, he's going to improve the quality of the team, clearly, in terms of football and Billy. You could argue maybe in terms of personality around the place. I understand that. But for me, as soon as they came into the football club, I was scratching my head thinking, I can't see this one at all, Sanchez. I just can't see the fit, particularly in terms of the Pogba situation, in terms of the constant debate, how we're going to get the best out of this fella. For me, this is how you do it. You play him in the 3, slightly off the left, and you encourage him as much as possible to stay away from the ball, get up the pitch into the last third of the pitch, those inside left channels, get on the ball, and he'll contribute in terms of goals and assists. But you've got to create the space for him to go into. And when you've got a left winger who wants to constantly come on the inside and occupy that space, what that actually does, it forces Pogba back down the pitch towards the central midfield areas because the space isn't there for him. So immediately he heads back. He heads back into an almost a midfield 2 with Matic. That's not where I want to see him. I want to see Pogba 15, 20 yards ahead of Matic, actually staying away from the ball, saying, just get me the ball higher up the pitch. And when he gets the ball, he can see Lukaku on his inside, he can see Rashford on his outside, Martial the other side, and he can go and play and combine with those players. So I'm really excited. If I was a Manchester United supporter, this is the team that I want to see on the pitch.
You've set it up, Kenny. Now you've set it up. I mean, I think everyone expects them to get the job done tonight either way on that 3G pitch. More of that and on. Must let you know as well that the Ryder Cup kicks off next week. Kenny, you are, I've no doubt, buzzing for the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, phones off. 3 days, just phones off.
A couple of bets down, and
you're putting on the.
No, what about any bets? Don't you? No. You know you're trying to start that rumour. Got a bit of a bit of a problem, like, you know what I mean? No. Stay away from the betting Ryder Cup. But it's the one. I might have said it something today, chatting to somebody today. It's the only sporting event where that's still like tension can get the better of me. Yeah. Any kind of football event, no problem.
Particularly if it's nice and tight getting into Sunday.
But all the days, it'll literally get me off the settee. I could literally be pacing the floor of the sitting room for 3 days. It does affect me in that way.
Can we get a kind of what's it called? What's that TV show on TV3 where they film people watching TV?
Virgin Media.
Virgin Media TV. Yeah, where they film people watching.
Gogglebox.
Yeah. Ryder Cup Gogglebox with Kenny. Just a constant picture-in-picture on offtheball.com.
I must say, Richie. I mean, you're in good company. We had a competition last week, Kenny? Last week, the week before, we ran a Subway competition for some of their tasty meat platters. And off the back of it, I said to Kenny, set him up perfectly. Kenny, I'd say you'll have a Subway tasty meat platter. And we got a good couple of minutes on Kenny's preferred burger.
I got a Bunsen rant off the back of it. Oh yeah.
Right, the Ryder Cup kicks off next week. You can stream all the action live with Now TV Sky Sports Pass. With the Now TV Sky Sports Pass, you can only pay for the days that you want, and you can stream all 10 Sky Sports channels. We're going to be going over to France next week. By the way, Nathan and Joe are going to be at Le Golf Nastia.
Yeah, when you say we.
I mean, they are part of the team, Richie. I get
Were you involved in that decision-making process, Rich, in terms of who?
To celebrate, I must add, not that the two lads are going over, just as the Ryder Cup is here. To celebrate, we're giving away...
you haven't been invited to go, Rich.
We're giving away a 12-month Now TV Sky Sports Pass, and to be able the chance of winning, just identify our Ryder Cup mystery voice, who says the players weren't allowed to share hotel rooms with their wives during Ryder Cups back in the day.
Perhaps they thought we'd wake up and hold hands in the middle of the night, I don't know.
Yeah, we go more bash on that.
Perhaps they thought we'd wake up and hold hands in the middle of the night. I don't know.
I won't lie, I hadn't heard that before we came on air and I wasn't sure where we were going, but everything is fine. Let's carry on. Text your name and your answer to 53106 for 30 cent and we'll announce a winner a little bit later on the show. Off the Ball's Ryder Cup coverage brought to you in association with Now TV. Only pay for the days you want and stream all 10 Sky Sports channels with the Now TV Sky Sports Pass. Right, Screwfix.ie are our sponsors for the Newsround, and Richie's going to kick us off with some mentioned developments in the Mayo GAA saga. There are more.
Yeah, there are. Peter Leahy has called for an end to the war of words surrounding the Mayo ladies football squads. The Mayo LGFA this week backed the manager in the wake of a press conference where the 12 departed players doubled down on their claims of player welfare issues. In a statement issued to the 42.ie today, Leahy suggests the departed players' claims are wrong and exaggerated, while also saying players should never receive public criticism from management. As far as I'm concerned, he writes, this is over. All sides have had their say, and all that is happening now is we're giving the public the right to make insulting comments on social media, which are hurting a lot of people. It's even going as far as affecting people's mental health, it appears. So I'm asking for people to lay off comments to players. Leahy adds that he will be staying on for the 2019 season. Following off the back of that, the saga took another twist last night with the Connacht Council allowing Carnacon to remain in the Mayo Football Championship, albeit with some caveats. The 8 Carnacon players involved in the Mayo walkout have been suspended from club action for 4 weeks, while the club themselves have been fined €500.
I know. Look, we're not going to spend a vast swathe of time now discussing this again, but
Adrian, one thing I will say, I thought that was wrong in terms of the club team being suspended.
Yeah.
So
now they haven't suspended them, they've just suspended a bunch of the players who were involved in the walkout.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue, yeah, but the actual initial suspension was preventing the whole team. So you got innocent parties there, other players with no involvement in this whatsoever.
Yeah, it's the Mayo LGFA, the governing body, the direct governing body who instigated that. It then went to a higher level to Connacht Council. They said no, we're not doing that, and the appeal was held last night.
If there was one thing that stood out when I heard that initially was that one fact when the club team had been suspended from the club competition. I just felt that's totally.
I have to say, it strikes me now, and I know that Peter Lee has come out with a statement today, and he said the conversation needs to stop, and the statements need to stop, and the press conferences need to stop, and everybody needs to kind of get on with life. And I've definite sympathy for that. Like, I think that Cora Staunton was with us at a roadshow in Croke Park 3-4 weeks ago now, and the discussion about how the coverage of women's football, there's not enough coverage of women's football, and there's not enough coverage of Mayo women's football, and there's not enough coverage of Carnacon's football given the success they've had, and then that this is, as she put it in the night, sort of blackening their name. It does feel as if there just needs to be some sort of a final solution to this where everybody really just moves on, and one of those options might have been, and I would understand his reasons, and he's clearly, this is not something he's doing, I would understand his reasons for it, but one of those options might have been for the manager to have stood aside, to have said, no matter if he was right or wrong, look, this is not working out, I've been here for a year, it hasn't worked out, I don't want to prolong it any further, and on that basis I'm out. Best of luck to my OGA in the future, I'll carry on somewhere else. For best of all parties, why don't I just, even though I don't believe I've done anything wrong, I think I've been, whatever word you want to insert, victimised, whatever word you want to insert, but for all of that, I'm still moving on.
But the tone of everything he said suggests that he's not going anywhere. I mean, to come out with that statement today, players should never get public criticism from management, and I would never hit back on any of the comments the players make publicly, no matter how much I think they're wrong or exaggerated. Like, he clearly just wants to make sure that he gets the last say on all of this before that he feels it should be put to bed. He's entitled to stand up for his position, but I don't think...
He's clearly hurting, Rich, to come out with a statement like that. You can tell he's hurting, and like you say, we don't know, we're on the outside looking in. I take Adrian's point in some respects. I think a lot of people, neutral people looking in, would think that would be the cleanest break from to actually do that, regardless of whether he's in the right or wrong. But flip it over, if I was a manager in the position, I felt as if I hadn't done anything wrong, I was being kind of misrepresented, that'd be a tough line, that'd be tough to step aside in those circumstances. Every natural inclination would say, well, hold on, I've done nothing wrong here, I'm enjoying my time here, I want to be part of this team, I feel as if I can contribute here, I have the respect to the other players, I've invested a lot in this team, why should I walk away? So whereas I understand the argument Adrian's making there, from a manager's point of view, if he generally feels as if he's in the right, that's not an easy step to make.
It's a non-paid position, he's not... It's an amateur position, so he's not in a position where he's dependent on the financials of it. So on that basis, that's the argument. I understand. I get the other part of it. I totally get that. It's like maybe there's a part of him that's saying if I take that route, people are going to look at it and say, well, I walked away, so maybe I had some part in it. But you can make all that abundantly clear in whatever walking away statement you want to make. But it just feels as if this is never ending. Like
the only thing which is certain at the end of this process where we are at the moment, Adrian, from as I see it, is there's no way Peter Lee can work with that group of players again.
With the 12 that have walked away.
Well, absolutely. There's no way they can come together after what's happened.
No, because if that was going to happen, it would have happened before now.
Yeah, so either Peter Leahy's got to walk, and from what we read at the moment today, that is not going to happen. He's got the backing of the board as well. Doesn't see any movement there. And certainly the players have already walked, and they're certainly not going to walk back into that type of environment where I can see with the manager there. So that's abundantly clear that those two parties cannot.
Yeah.
You know, people talk about mediation, or they've been down that road before. Let's just get together, talk this thing through. But there's things being said there now and out in the public domain where there's no going back. There's no back. It's been an absolute breakdown in trust there between the manager and the players, and which literally can't be resolved.
No, and I think like the difficulty I have is that whenever competitive action returns, they're going to get back to having games. He's going to get back to having media duties, and it's all going to crop up again. So whatever he might wish, in terms of its capacity to die down, I fail to see how that might happen. Anyway, we have had a text from. Text into 53106 saying, lads, this Mayo farce needs to stop between the lady situation, Carnacun, and Rochford exit / who's replacing him. It's unreal, says Dave, who I think by his own admission says he's a bitter Galway man, and just at this point sort of wants to move on from everything.
Next story, James Horan is a step closer to be reappointed as the Mayo football manager. The deadline for nominations to succeed Stephen Rochford closed at 1 o'clock this afternoon. It's believed Horan's name was put forward by at least one club, that being his home club, Ballintubber. Under-21 boss Michael Solan is another name said to be in the running. Holders Cork City will discover their FAI Cup semi-final opponents tonight. Derry City playing host to Bohemians in their rearranged quarter-final tie. Bows have won each of their last 7 games in all competitions, including a 2-0 win over the Candy Stripes at the Brandywell last month. Tonight's winners will be at home to Cork on Sunday week, with kick-off tonight at 7:45.
You've been following a bit of this, Kenny?
Yeah, well, a
bit of League of Ireland.
Absolutely. That's gonna be a cracking game. Bow's on a fantastic run, and I'm always interested in watching Derry play. I just love the way they play. I like the young talent that always seems to be coming through at that football club. Always gives me encouragement. I saw them play at Dalymount Park not too long ago. Some outstanding talent there. Conor McDermott, Owen Tulp, centre halves, Aaron McInneff, midfield, Ronan Finn up front, who I worked with for a small period of time. Ronan Hale, excuse me. Yeah, really kind of high energy, young, talented, raw players. You always seem to produce them and have done for quite some time. So, yeah, and Bows, of course, on a great run, like I've said. So, yeah, unfortunately, won't have eyes in that game. So I'd be sorely tempted if we had to monitor on that game in the room. Is that possible? Well, Rich, can you manufacture?
I'll make some phone calls. As we mentioned, both Manchester sides entering the Champions League fray tonight. United are in Bern to face Young Boys in their opening Group H encounter. The United team news we've already brought you. Young Boys playing a plastic pitch, which has been noted as being on the primitive end of the scale of plastic pitches. United boss Jose Mourinho, though, says they're taking inspiration from Roger Federer in their approach to tonight's surface.
Everybody knows it's different, but what I had to say, I told last week in Geneva in a UEFA meeting, I can get as an example, we are in Switzerland, the home of one of the best ever tennis player, I'm pretty sure that the big man sometimes is not happy to play in such a surface, but he has to play and he has to win. And everybody knows he has a favorite surface, but he has also to win in the surfaces that he's not in love with. So we have to do it.
You having that, Kenny? We are live, by the way, just FYI, as Kenny rejigs himself. I did have a feeling we were wandering ourselves down into a bit of a hole
He's having kittens there.
You're into the... He's not the only one. Sweaty bams.
Am I back?
We're live.
That's not a great look, is it?
What? No, it's perfectly fine, Kenny. It's perfectly fine. 3G, you having it?
Well, he's talking about, what was the phrase you used, Rich, to describe the pitch there in your... Primitive. Well, he needed to experience life at Boundary Park and Loftus Road back in the day when those artificial fours came in, because that was literally, he must have been playing on the playground. I've literally, both my knees have been scarred since I was about 21, just permanent, because I lost the skin on both my knees playing.
Wow. Luton had it as well, didn't they?
Yeah, Luton, Kenilworth Road as well, yeah. Just when it first was introduced, just stupid. So a young kid trying to impress and just went in for a sliding tackle
wouldn't
on the surface. Yeah, why wouldn't you? But of course, it was totally unforgiving. Literally just took.
How was that any sort of safety regulations allowed those pitches to be put down?
There was no safety regulations in the mid-80s, that's the problem.
And it was to the detriment. And it was to the detriment. I remember talking to a lad, Ian Dawes, I played with when I first went to Millwall. He played at QPR for quite a number of years in the team which played on that artificial surface and was first introduced. And he said, absolute fact, he said, that pitch took about 2-3 years off the careers of most of those players. He said, and the amount of joint problems, ankle and knee, they experienced later in life as a result of that. He said it was a real struggle. Yeah. So a little sympathy.
Elsewhere in Group H tonight, Cristiano Ronaldo makes his Champions League debut for Juventus. They're away to Valencia. That one also kicks off at 8 o'clock. There was a 5:55 start in Manchester City's Group F, where at the moment it's Shakhtar Donetsk 1, Hoffenheim 2. There's about 60 minutes to go in that one. City kick off at 8 o'clock at home to Lyon. They make 3 changes from Saturday's win over Fulham. Their team in full sees Ederson starting goal, a back 4 of Kyle Walker, John Stones, Aymeric Laporte and Fabian Delph. In midfield it's Fernandinho, Ilkay Gundogan and David Silva, with Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling flanking Gabriel Jesus. And Real Madrid's defence of their trophy begins at home to Roma at the Bernabeu. Group G's other game sees the Czech champions Victoria Plzeň take on CSKA in Moscow. There's a 5:55 start in Group E, where it is currently Ajax 1, AEK Athens 0. The 8 o'clock start in that game, and that group even sees Benfica play host to Bayern Munich. Mauricio Pochettino, he says that his side deserve more respect despite their defeat to Inter in the Champions League last night. Inter came from one behind to score 2 late goals, winning 2-1 in the end. Pochettino didn't take kindly, though, to being asked about the absences of Toby Alderweireld and Kieran Trippier.
What a question, so easy question, eh? And a question that, easy target and easy to talk about the players that are not here, like Hugo or like Dele Alli or like Sissoko. I don't know. I think we need to talk about football because I think you force me to say something that is not good. You disrespect the player that today they were show the best quality than the opponent. Why? Why disrespect the players that are in the pitch? You can blame me and say, Gaffa, you were so rubbish in your election of the starting 11. But please, don't disrespect the people or the player are playing because it's my decision.
You don't take kindly to people who don't take kindly. Mauricio Pochettino, they're speaking after that 2-1 defeat.
Have a little bit more conversation with Kenny a little later on about Spurs and those sort of, I don't know, is that right? Really, yeah, you probably wouldn't suppose
it's very un-Pochettino-like.
A bit pissed off, I'd say, is really the main thrust of things there. Adrian McPartland on Twitter wonders if Kenny's a secret United fan. No.
I'm pretty impartial when it comes to look. When I was growing up a Liverpool supporter, but I can genuinely say I've mellowed significantly to the point where I'd have no real allegiance to any English Premiership.
A little bit of a favouring for Liverpool, maybe on that basis. None.
No, I wouldn't actually. Amazing. Some people might say, "Oh, it's a disgrace. How can you?" But no, I genuinely know. I can literally, like I said, football. I can watch any game, not get too event up, and I wouldn't particularly have a leaning for any particular team to win. But I just think this Manchester United team, because it's been so negative, so many negative vibes, pretty much a lot of it generated by the manager's got to be said over the last kind of year and a half. And I just feel there's so many positives. You can be so positive about this Manchester United team. It's been so frustrating to see how they kind of stumbled their way through it over the past maybe year or so, when I think there's real potential in that squad. I don't think they're quite where they need to be in terms of challenging for the Premiership title. Yeah. But the talent they have, particularly high up the pitch, stands up at anything for me, certainly in the Premier League, and you could even take that into Europe as well.
Lads, both Manchester clubs in action, and no mention of Pep yet, though. Just bullshit from the has-been one, referring to Mourinho there. Graham and Offaly. I mean, Pep is not involved tonight and can't be involved.
He wasn't speaking beforehand.
So that's sort of the rationale behind that. And a lot of texts, I'm told by Shane outside, that Off the Ball are giving Mayo ladies a free pass in all of this. I mean, look, that can be your take on it. You're totally entitled to that. It certainly isn't our reading of it, and certainly not my reading of it. I don't know how, from the conversation we've had a little bit earlier on, you could draw that conclusion, but you're entitled to it and entitled to get in touch with us, and we are.
It's a very Peter Leahy-like statement there, Adrian.
Very happy to hear from you, and that's all very genuine and not in anybody's camp. Actually, just looking at it from the outside, looking in, you got to have a take, and that's my take. A couple of quick stories to wrap us up, Richie.
Yeah, the IOC's Athletes Commission has backed moves to reinstate the Russian anti-doping agency into world sports. The World Anti-Doping Agency expected tomorrow to lift the 3-year ban on Russia that was imposed following the publication of the McLaren report. WADA's Compliance Review Committee last week claimed it had received assurances from the Russian Sports Ministry that the country had, quote, sufficiently acknowledged its failures. Yesterday, Sport Ireland was among 13 national bodies to oppose the reinstatement of RUSADA. While 5 members of the All-Ireland winning Galway side have been rewarded with places on the Electric Ireland Minor Star Awards Hurling Team of the Year, this year's beaten finalists Kilkenny have 4 on that team, Tipperary have 3, Dublin 2, and there's a lone nod to Limerick in the form of Cathal O'Neill in the half-forward line. The team was picked by Michael Fennelly and Ollie Canning, and Fennelly will join us on tomorrow night's show.
Give us one Jordan Murphy line there before we wrap.
He says he regrets claiming that rugby has gone too PC. Leicester's acting head coach was reacting to Will Spencer's sending off for a dangerous tackle on Wasps' Tommy Taylor last weekend. Murphy now says he made the comments in the heat of the moment and that neither he nor Leicester were taking head injuries lightly. Spencer, for his part, picked up a 4-week ban last night for the aforementioned tackle.
All right, well, we'll get into that with Matt Williams and Keith Wood are going to be here after 8 o'clock when we discuss all things rugby for Wednesday Night Rugby as usual. So all of that is to come. I should mention as well that we were in touch with Peter Lee a number of weeks ago for him to come on the show, and he declined. And that, again, is totally his right. We're just gone after 7:30 on this Wednesday evening. Delighted to have you along with us. I must mention as well that the Heineken Champions Cup will kick off in less than a month, and just before Leinster Munster at Ulster play their first round matches, we've got a very, very special event coming your way. We're going to be giving you more details on that when it's all happening. That'll be on tomorrow night's show, so stay tuned for that. We're going to have some rugby superstars involved in that show, and potentially a couple of others to come before the end of the year, but say no more for the minute. Tickets are going to fly for that show in Limerick, so do make sure that get yours. Keep an ear to Off the Ball and an eye on our social channels for more detail on that over the next 24 hours or thereabouts. Right, that is it. Richie, thanks for the minute. Kenny, thanks a million for the minute. You're going to be back with us in a second to preview the Champions League after these.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
Thanks to Screwfix.ie, championing the trade with a choice of over 20,000 quality trade products.
If your business can't afford to be waiting around for things to happen, let's fast forward to a time when My Taxi Business is helping you take control of your taxi account with online management tools to make the job of managing company expenses so much easier. That was easy. And when you need to get your staff from A to B in a jiffy, My Taxi has the largest taxi network in the country and the lowest wait times in the business, which can only be great news for yours. Talk to our business team today at business.mytaxi.ie.
Cash in when you switch to 3SIM only today. We'll give you a free 3-money prepaid MasterCard with 20